Okay, so for today, we're going to start a pot of red beans. A lot of people ask me how my red beans come out so good, and this is how I do it. Now, I usually am kind of famous for making large amounts of everything, so long as you know how to do your fractions, you'll be able to figure out how to put this in quarters or halves or whatever. This is going to be for a relatively good sized pot of red beans, which is probably enough to put into maybe 3 or 4 1-gallon Ziploc baggies and throw into the freezer for later. So here you go. This, I'm going to start off with 7 cups of red beans. I actually measured this time. This is a very full pitcher of water. Right here, this is chicken bouillon. Okay, you can also use chicken stock. I'm going with chicken bouillon because I like to control the flavor. That way I can bolster it or I can loosen it down a little bit. Over here I have crystal hot sauce, pepper, garlic salt, onion salt, or excuse me, garlic powder, onion powder. This is my own blend of my Cajun blackening seasoning. Right here I have, of course, Tony Chachere's, which goes into pretty much any Cajun dish of any kind, or Creole dish. This is fresh parsley, kosher salt, and this is shallots because I don't use onions. Now this magic little mixture is all the cuttings and drippings off of one of the briskets that I've made in the last couple of speakeasies. So I take that brisket fat, throw it up into a bag, and when it's time to make red beans, it goes into the pot. So here's what we're going to do. We take the red beans. Now I've already separated and cleaned these, so I already know they're ready. They go directly in the pot. This pot is not on yet, but it's about to be. Then to that, I'm going to add 4, and this for this amount. So I did it enough that you can break it down into quarters if you want. 4 large bouillon cubes. This is chicken. You can also use beef if you want to. To that, I'm going to add this is 1.5 gallons of water. Okay, and it's lukewarm. I try not to use cold water. I'm starting it at medium-high. Okay, so if you take a look in here, all that you're really going to see is the bouillon ready to go, and the chicken, the chicken bouillon, the red beans, and the water. Okay, I'm going to add everything to this and put a lid on it. I'm not slow cooking it. I'm going to bring it up to temperature, and then I'm going to lower it down. So in here, I'm adding, like I said, everything. That's my shallots. Now that's 1/2 cup of shallots. Everything here is 1.5 tablespoons. So again, 1.5 tablespoons of Tony Chachere's kosher salt, Cajun blackening seasoning, which I've made, and you can see the recipe online, parsley, onion powder, garlic powder, excuse me, black pepper, and again, 1.5 tablespoons of crystal hot sauce. Okay, so now even though that is not the entire amount of seasoning that's going in, it's a very, very, very good start. Now I'm going to be making probably only one adjustment to this, and that adjustment will be later on. So that is where I always tell people, use your discretion. This is the baseline of my black beans, okay? The only thing I haven't added yet, and I'll add later, and I won't show you in the video, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to add 1 cup of chopped celery because it really just brings up that flavor. So that's it. Now this is clearly, if you take a look, there's not enough water for beans. But what I'm trying to do is get all that chicken bouillon to break down and really infuse all those flavors deep into the beans. So they're going to start off like this. So now I started it medium-high. That's the temperature on medium-high is only 375. It's not extremely hot. This is a controlled temperature. If you were on a gas stove, it would be on about medium to low. So low, you know, right in between medium and low. On an electric stove, pretty much the same thing. But if you have a way to control your temperature, about 375 is where you're going to go. This is going to sit like this for about an hour and cook up and simmer. Then I'm going to add another entire amount of the same amount of water. Okay, so it's going to be a total of 3 gallons of water in a pot this size. So if you know how to do your math, it's very simple. For 7 cups, if you were doing that in half, it's 3.5 cups. If you're doing that in quarters, it would be 1 3/4 cups of beans. Very few people make that small amount of beans, but there's your quarters. So that you would have 1 cube of bouillon, and then do the math downward from there. So I will be adding this particular recipe to the baseline on the website. And if you haven't been to the website yet, it's Gypsy, and just look up Chef Gypsy Elise, E-L-I-S-E. Now to all of this, I'm going to cold add the brisket fat. Okay? Now, the reason I'm cold adding it is because, again, I want those flavors to rise up into the beans, and then when I add more water, then it's going to break it down and bring it into soupy. When it starts, as soon as it hits a simmer, which is going to be in about an hour, I'm going to turn it down to probably about medium or medium-low, and it's just going to sit there for sometimes 8 to 10, 12 hours. I will add water as necessary and keep on stirring. If you keep it at a relatively low temperature, the beans are naturally going to break down. You don't have to smash them like people do. Okay? So, are there any questions, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay.
Someone's asking, well, why don't you use onions?
I don't use onions because I'm allergic to onions. However, shallots will give you the exact same flavor without having the onion oil. That's why. So, I don't miss the onions, and nobody in my house misses the onions because they still taste the onion flavor, but they're eating something that I'm actually not allergic to. It's another reason why, although I can make probably the best crawfish etouffee you've ever had, I cannot eat it because I'm allergic to seafood. So I've learned how to adapt to the things that I can have, and I'm pretty much sure I can do it. So there you go. Any other questions right now, Ryan?
No, that's it.
Okay, great. So there you go. This is the secret to my red beans. These won't be ready until, well, probably tomorrow morning, but goodness knows I'll probably be eating a bowl of them. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.